is like you are in such an opened up state to life, changing moment by moment, changing you and changing itself moment by moment. Then you meet, for example, me, and I'm in my structure. So is it like, do you get out of the state because you cannot communicate, or because my energetic impact, which is a very structured, conditioned, routined one, I'm just not on your level of aliveness at the moment, is like, then there is a co-created field. So that would be also interesting, like the if we could make that visible. Like states are also meeting and changing in the meeting, and at the end of the game, who wins? I mean, how easily the whole planet would heal if those ones with the opened up energy would have the bigger impact. But at the moment, it's just the other way around. We are going holiday and retreat and having time alone and having time with the one person I can share ecstasy with, and the rest of my life is shitty. And that's like, that somehow has to change. And that is why I think it makes so much sense to say aliveness, ecstasy, bliss needs rage. Otherwise you just collapse before I open the door. And I shouldn't have this kind of influence on you. I mean, if I would shower you with enlightenment, that would be another story. But I'm drawing you down into depression again.
And somehow, like, two things come up. One is, somehow for me it's helpful to acknowledge that, yes, people do have an impact on me. Like, so that it doesn't turn into this kind of, okay, I'm supposed to be this whatever energetic master who's just like always in my field and doesn't give a shit about like where the space other people are coming in from. But yeah, I can really relate to what you're saying, like where I am right now. And I mean, it's something I experience often, is like when I spend time with people who just talk and talk and talk and talk. They, like, I think if I wouldn't stop them, they would talk for hours without a pause. And I find it really fucking hard to find a way to stay connected to myself. I mean, I could probably just like, I mean, burn them. Just be like, stop. I cannot hear a single word anymore. And maybe I'm just too scared to do it. But also I'm curious, like, okay, this is probably a trap that I'm preparing for myself right now, but I'm curious if there's a way to embody rage, to stay in like the whatever the frequency that I want to be in, without burning the other person, without making them feel like, you know, they are bad and wrong and they're supposed to do it different because they are killing my state. Like, that's kind of what I fall into, and I really don't like it. It feels really, ugh.
I think yes, there is a way, because I think the moment that the outer world can influence us in an unwelcomed way is the moment that we already are in a collapsed state on some level. It might be comparably little amount of collapse. Still, there is an invasion of the outer world into the inner world that doesn't feel like a co-created win-win situation, but a lot of loss of energy. So you have to be part of the problem. So you have to have hidden some kind of energy in the first place. And then, and that's a bigger conversation, but that's super interesting. And I'm super scared of being convinced of that, because it means so much. If there is no enemy out there, if the inner world is the outer world, if the inner world is good, the outer world is good. Let's say it like that. There is no perpetrator. There is no bad one. That's a story. There is no field that can destroy your state. But then there is something of Am I fully in my field? Is like, then I'm still ready to fight because I know that I'm the stronger one. That's a very unfree matrix. And quite the opposite, if you manage to be in that high state, out of surrendering to a whole night of suffering with your skin, you are opened up to life. So who are you then? Jumping out of your bed, having your field, having your rage in a way of, I will push you away. Instead of, I can push you so easily away that I can allow you to fully penetrate me with whatever. There is no influence and power over me that you can possibly have just because you want that.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk for days and nights, one mindfuck after the other. And it can flow and flow because in the end, it is energy. And that also is what we talked about. There is no state or point in the universe that has less energy than another one. But we are referring to them different states of flow, which is a story of victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a story of differentiation. But that, of course, means a lot because it means something so different to the healing paradigm that we need certain circumstances and we need safety and we need understanding and we need love in order to heal. To be honest, I know how it is to be held and to be loved and to be healed. And it's such an insanely wonderful blessing. It's more than perfect. And I know it's such an evil trap if I start then waiting for that because I wouldn't need them.
Yes.
Most people do not have that even once in their life. So who are we telling them that they need that? That's such a miserable job of support. So the other, let's say the more modern healing matrix is keep being exposed to toxics, to danger, to overwhelm, and to too muchness around you. I'm so sorry, Tiger, but this is where you have to make it. Because you have to make it there, because this is your life right now. Because billions of other suffering tigers have to make it there anyway, because they do not have the money for a computer or for time with an online course or whatever. They just do not have that. They need your walking embodiment for getting this path. And we do not want to end up as a privileged culture, having abused our privilege for disembodying even more from others. It's like, that's not surrender. That's still a power game. And then I'm overpowering you with my amount of privileges.
Yes.
So I'm very like sorry to say, I think the more modern way for healing is learning in the friction, in the ongoing sense of I can't stand it anymore. And it's tricky because, at least in my experience, the more I say, okay, life, take me, show me what I'm capable of in handling as chaos. It's like life says, we go a little bit over your felt sense edge, which will expand your real edge, which is always beyond what you think you're capable of. And you manage that. And then tomorrow I will come with the next challenge. It is tricky. It is tricky because I'm somehow like the willingness of the inner power to say that's fucking right. And the only thing I want to be here for is so strong that it's somehow like that deletes you and gives you your mission at the same time. And that's a risky thing. It's really like what I'm saying at the moment is give life this. But I want to say in the same recording, life will take your whole body. It will take you so much. And that's somehow like, or don't give it the little finger. Because the moment that you are saying high five, I'm in the challenge, is the moment that life says, okay, next module tomorrow. Wow. Yeah. But so just to make very sure, like this fiery path of I'm fully mastering my energy. If you would master energy, you wouldn't be afraid of the energy of a mindfuck. It's not you stay in your center. It's you having no center. It's you not being a being in danger. And we can compare that to the like spiritual or whatever traditions around fire and water, but also to healing, which is somehow, let's have a protected space and this is safe and I fully understand you. It's wonderful when it works, and it works. And it is a hell of self-disgust and desperation if we say this is what you need, otherwise it can't work. Just because it's so privileged and so rare that we cannot afford put our healing hope on a collective or individual level on this circumstances. Yes. The circumstances globally will become worse. The circumstances globally will become worse. We better act now in updating our paradigms for healing, or we will just be the better informed sufferers.
And I like the way you frame it, because it doesn't mean that I reject these healing spaces.
Not
because that's like, remember when I shared with you this voice message of like, oh, now like my new dogma is always go into the suffering. Like when there's like a healing space, be like, no, I need more destruction.
Yes, not at all, not at all. But if you're not afraid of suffering catching you, and you manage it in the suffering with dignity no matter what, you open up self-love. And when you open up self-love, you have those graceful moments with communities, with people who understand you. It's like the outer world is a gift waiting for you, but you have stopped to wait. You have stopped waiting for this gift. Because we wait for it because we think we need it, and you do not need it. And there might be in a few years burning hell around us, and I'm serious. It's not a joke. The global state is insanely dangerous in the amount of forces, and there are no bad ones, and that's one of the biggest problems. We cannot hate somebody. There might be people around who think they are the bad guys. They are not. They are traumatized. And I truly do not want to have abused my privileges in this culture, with this money, with this knowledge, with this work, with this life, just in Germany, where no bombs are falling at the moment, in order to collapse as one of the first ones, because I wasn't prepared for the toughness and the reality of life and death, and the reality of suffering. And I do not want other people being around me really suffering and me giving them some kind of tips. That's just shabby. And for that, it might have some kind of wise instinct to, for some time, running from wellness or being turned off by holiday, because it's like, who am I having a beach party? I mean, who am I?
Yes.
Who am I? I will abuse the beach party in order to get along, and that will be a fucking lie. So there is no reason today for celebrating on that level. But when we somehow, like on purpose, not running away from hell, it's like hell says, oh baby, I don't exist. Have some fun. You're sweet. You're doing great. And that is, I think, when we fall so deeply in love with aliveness, that we say, I will go through hell again and again and again. There is nothing that can stop me. Like, life is so wonderful. We won't escape this fact. We will just escape, as we already did, from the awareness of this fact. Yeah, life is so wonderful.